So I don't want to take a ton of time. I can talk to people individually. I know a couple questions that came up just as we were walking around. People wanted to ask about the gas tax, so I want to raise that kind of issue. People also had some concerns about, I know, education funding. I heard from Mark Harlan right here from the former, you're on the advisory board, but also former Situate School Committee member. First of all, let me talk about transportation. One thing everyone in this room should be aware of is we have been putting off tough decisions for years. And one tough decision back in 1998, we had a former governor running for re-election, and you all will remember this, when he promised that the big dig was on time and under budget. Do you all remember that? Well, the only reason why it was under budget is that former Governor Cellucci bonded $1.8 billion of debt. There wasn't a single payment. What they promised to the debt holders and the bond holders is they would pay 10 years later. They were supposed to do incremental increases in the turnpike, 25 cents every 2 years on tolls. That never happened. So I come into office, and we are told we have one line item of $2.46 billion of debt that just came due last November. One example of bad decisions in the past, and if we want to see how that affects you and I just had a tour of the Union Street Bridge between Marshfield and Norwell, and I had the ability to go underneath it. And you've seen swaths in areas that were falling out in the metal in different areas where we have indeed the bridge being unsafe. It was supposed to be worked on many years ago. Mass Highway folks who were there said all the funds went to the big dig. As a result, we're going to have that bridge. Luckily, the good news is that it's showing that the state is still doing good work in tough times. We're spending over $2 million to repair the bridge. The bad news is it's going to have to be shut down entirely for the next year. So when it comes on an issue like the gas tax, I've already communicated back to the governor that I am not inclined to just go wholeheartedly with an increase of 19 cents, which was his proposal, but any kind of a proposal, if we're going to see it done, I want to see several things. Number one, it has to be transparent. We need to know where all the funds are going right now to make sure they're not going in just the general government. Secondly, we want something in return. Route 139 right now, the project the proposal is for it not to be completed to 2015. And that's, for those who were, Trish, when you were at that meeting that we had with business leaders, the analogy I'm using with the state is saying that Route 139 is our major artery that goes through our town. And if we don't do something about that, we're going to have a stroke. So we're trying to make sure we move that project up. So what I'll tell each and every one of you, first of all, raise your hand. How many of you want to see the gas tax go up? You got a few, good, all right. But more important, how many of you want to have a bridge fall down while you're driving over it? The reality is we're going to have some tough decisions on that, and that's just transportation projects alone. Our existing budget right now that we have, the existing budget with a $4.5 billion deficit, I'm going to make sure, Trish, tomorrow night to go and meet with the advisors and the selectmen to talk about how that's going to mean some painful cuts. One thing that Jim Arcero here, Jim, by the way, of the freshman reps, Michael and I, all of us together work so closely, but he's a bigger rabble rouser. But we're going to be coming out and making a statement, Jim and I were discussing, about saying we don't want to see any outside section of the budget coming up. We don't want to see anything that people would say would just be, Jim, what's in your word?
Earmark.
Yeah, a straight earmark. Both of us talking about saying we don't want to have any earmarks in this budget because we know that it's so important to show that we're spending money effectively. That's something that you're going to see as some additional reforms coming up. The final thing I want to leave with you, by the way, is the thrill of doing this job. That every day, Michael, Jim, and I, we get briefing books. And if we're going to do it, maybe the analogy from the A to Z, I get a briefing book on autism, learning about how amazing the increase of those types of incidents with children having afflictions with autism, going all the way to zoning changes and zoning reform. So as I tell Jen, every night I'm reading a new briefing. It's like going back to college without all the heavy drinking. When we'll be coming up now, the heavy drinking is going to start with the budget process, which you're going to see when we come up the end of this month. We'll be passing a new budget. I will tell you that we are going to make some very painful decisions, but I want each and every one of you to be able to share with that information as we're doing them. If you have not been able to give out your email, I want to send you regular updates about them. If you haven't been able to come to things like town meeting, Trish is holding up a sign April 27th. Please make sure to participate in the local town government. We all are going to have to work in this together. And that's the final point you'll see on your sheet. The idea we're in this together. We, through Trish's leadership and the selectmen and others, we're going to do a forum at the Marshfield Council on Aging that is on the first Monday in May. We're bringing together people through, Michael Versecki has already been contacted. And by the way, if you have any problem, Michael is the one to come complain to. Michael is my aide, who's the real brains behind our organization. But we are going to have a forum here in town, and it's titled "We're All in This Together." We're bringing people to help for folks who might have a problem with their home, with a mortgage issue. We're bringing people who deal with home heating oil issues. Even though it'll be May, we've got a plan for the fall. We'll be bringing together people that can be talking about some other benefits that we have through the food pantry. We want to bring these folks together who do regular services every day so that we all can work through these next difficult 2 years. I guess I just want to end by saying I thank you all, each and every one of you, for your tremendous support. But I need to call upon that support and that information through the next couple months of a budget process. We're going to make some difficult decisions, but with your help, we'll make the right decisions, and I look forward to working with you over the next few months and the next 2 years. Thank you so much. What's that? And by the way, Jim or Mike, did you guys want to say anything? We're putting them on the spot for our other freshmen. Thank you both for coming here at the event as well. So back to music by Sean McLaughlin with his little friends.